Welcome, YouTube. We are going to hit live on Facebook, get two platforms or two streaming services going right now. We're live on Facebook as well. So we got YouTube over here, Facebook over here. We're going to be shipping out some weekend orders this morning. So hang with me. We're going to get started on that pretty soon. I got 32 orders to ship out today. 32. So between Friday and this morning, 32 orders going, which is a good weekend. That's a solid weekend for me. It's been a while since I've cracked that 30 unit mark. So if you're popping in and saying, well, if you're popping in at all, let me know where you're watching from. Come in and say hello, get this over here. So it's a little easier for me to navigate. So I've got a few people coming in on Facebook, a few people coming in on YouTube, and we're going to get started really soon. Before I start shipping, I'm going to be going through all the orders that I had. I'll be sharing the brands, the items, what have you, for what's selling for me right now, and let you know kind of the details behind it, whether I recommend picking it up or whether it's something that I sold and I probably won't get again. I'm actually going to do the glasses. These are my blue light glasses. They help protect my eyes and they make a huge difference. At the end of the day, I've been rocking these for probably 3-4 months now, and noticed a huge difference. I'm looking at how tired my eyes look. Noticed a huge difference when I wear these compared to when I don't. My eyes just aren't as tired as they used to be at the end of the day, just strain and stuff. So game changer here. Let me know where you're watching from. Say hello. Let me know how your weekend was. You had any big sales this weekend? Did you find something? As always, we use this opportunity to share and connect with one another. So it's not just me telling you what I found or me sharing with you the things that I'm picking up or what I've sold, but also I want to hear from you all. What are you selling? How was the weekend? If you see me going back and forth, it's because I've got YouTube over here and Facebook over here. Hopefully sometime in the future I can get it to where they're both angled at the same direction. But this morning I just needed to roll with it and go. So here we are. 32 units going out the door this morning. I'm going to be sharing those with you. I've been trying to think of what's going on in my store this morning. So right before I clicked live, I found I had an item that was an international order. It was a $69 shirt plus shipping, so $88 all in. And the buyer had reached out a couple of weeks ago stating they still wanted the item. They hadn't received it yet. And typically with international orders, USPS picks it up from my door. They send it to a US rerouting center. So it will show delivered in the US, which almost always triggers the buyer to go, hey, it shows delivered. I don't have it. And then I end up sending a message saying, hey, no worries. This is how it works. The item will show delivered. And then from there, it will get sorted through the processing center, and then it will be on its way to you. So if you got that delivered notification, that means that it's on its way to you, and I'll update you with a new tracking once I have it. Well, this one got lost somewhere, and I noticed that eBay just basically gave the money back, $88. I've never had this happen before where I've had a package lost internationally. So obviously not a fun way to start the morning with an $88 amount taken out of my account. So let's just hope that it comes back to me and eventually I get it, I can resell it. That's the best case, is that wherever it is, someone finds it and they send it back to the return address. Who knows? Sometimes this happens and it'll be months later, you'll get it back. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath for that, but if it happens, it happens. It's a part of the business though. It's going to happen. I hardly ever have a lost package. And with international, usually they get there eventually. Trying to think, there was something I was going to add on to that. A lot of people popping in on Facebook. Thanks so much. Bob, I do use a cross-listing service, and I usually link it in these videos. If you send me a message, I'll respond to you. The service that I use Nifty. I can give you a free trial to use for a week. And then if you decide to go forward with it, you'll see it's pretty simple to use. A lot of people use a Nifty out there, but if you do like it, after that week trial, then you can get 15% off your first month through my link. So send me a message on Facebook and then I can respond to it with that link for you, since I can't really link it here right now. Mexico, how's Ben going this morning for you? Robert, hello. No one on YouTube yet. I had a few people pop in and they've bounced. So I'll probably be giving a lot of my attention to Facebook over here unless I see some activity on YouTube. Okay, so let's just get started. That's kind of the saga of the day, the lost package. Obviously, it's a bummer. If I call eBay, there's a great chance they're just going to say, sorry, we can't help you out. You sent it internationally through a third-party service. You need to contact them, or you need to contact the postal service that the international order was shipped through. That's a big hassle. I believe it was Swiss mail. I'm just not going to worry about it. We'll see if it comes back. Okay. So I mentioned in the title of this live, you probably saw 4 platforms popping for me. Those are the 4 platforms I sell on: Depop, Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay. I had an order on Friday. I had 1 order from every single platform. That hasn't happened in quite some time. So to get an order on every platform in one day, I can't remember the last time that happened. I had 1 on Depop, 1 on Mercari, and then several on eBay and Poshmark. Ben was 29 last night. Sounds like we came at a good time because it never got down to 29 when we were there. Made our first Poshmark sale at the kids' bus stop this morning. I love hearing that. Did you just get onto Posh? That's awesome. Congrats, Rex. I love it. Okay, so as I always do, I'm going to start off with the platforms that have the least amount of sales. I've got 32 orders. Depop has 1 of those. Mercari has 1. Poshmark and eBay have the majority. So this item is a Lucky Brand Venice. It's a Venice Burnout is the model on this. See if that's mirrored. Gosh, I got to fix that. Hang on just a second. Let's see if I can fix the mirroring so you guys can see it. I don't do this a lot on... Yeah, and I can't figure out how to do it on Facebook, so I'll have to come back to it. But Lucky Brand Venice Burnout flannel shirt, or not flannel, thermal shirt sold for $17 on Depop. Took a best offer. For those that are popping in to say hello, you can obviously, if you can't chat, don't chat. I want to make sure you're safe, that you're not putting yourself in danger. But if you're able to comment, want to let me know where you're watching from, that'd be great. If I don't already know, and then let me know your sales for the weekend. Let me know how things are going on your end. I think I hit hitting 30 units sold on all my platforms in a weekend is a really good weekend for me. The last time I did that a few weeks ago, maybe I've done that twice in the last year or two. So I got some things going on right now that I'm proud of, and I'm hoping that upward trend continues. Nick Smith, welcome from the sunny deserts. We were in Bend. I didn't know this, but Bend is known as the high desert. A lot of things in that area named like high desert, which was kind of an interesting thing to learn. We went to the High Desert Museum, which has some like fun things for kids. So we were able to see like otters and birds and all kinds of different reptiles and things like that. So she had a good time. But the high desert was where we were. And I won't talk about Bend forever because I know I talked about it leading up to the trip, but yeah, I had no idea that Bend was in the desert. Nick says, my parents live in the Bend area. Redmond. Okay, that's where we flew in. Airport there. Cool. So you saw my Depop sale ship out. So I had 1 Depop, 1 Mercari. This next one is the Mercari, and this is a Columbia, really cool, like Hawaiian style floral pattern, size large. I don't really pick up these Columbias much anymore, unless I'm getting them for like a deal, like $1 or $2. I mean, even at $2, I'm like, do I really want to pick it up? That's kind of where I stand on Columbia. By the way, thanks for commenting on Facebook and YouTube. Appreciate that, guys. It keeps the conversation rolling forward. It makes it a lot more interesting for all of us rather than me just talking. Nobody wants that. So 3,900 feet elevation. Yeah, that's true. Talking about Bend, Oregon, and the high desert. Washington in the house. Milky Flips. What's going on? Kimberly says mine was super slow. Weekend only 4. I don't know what you're used to, Kimberly, but hopefully it picks up this next week and it makes up for slower sales this past weekend. So this Columbia shirt, I got $17.48. Buyer sent an offer on Mercari, and I definitely took that. I think Columbia, especially like if you're looking at like the solid color vented fishing shirts, I mean, there are people selling those for like $12. So I just don't pick them up unless I can find new with tags. Or again, like I said, I'm getting it for like $1 or something. You know, $1 into a $12 flip is actually pretty good. But I'm not going to pay $5 or $6 to sell it for, you know, $15 or so. Got a lot of activity on Facebook. Love seeing that. Going to Florida. I think 80% of us in this chat would have guessed that this shirt right here is going to Florida with that pattern on it. Julie watching from Indiana. For those that don't know, I am actually in Northwest Arkansas, so not far from Indiana. I'm right on the border of Oklahoma, Missouri, and Texas. Well, Texas, not really. I guess I'm about 3 or 4 hours away, but Kansas is what I meant to say. Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, right on the edge, like within an hour of any of those directions. All right, so Depop and Mercari are taken care of. We're getting them out of here. I think that was my first Mercari sale in, I'll have to look back at my spreadsheet. First Mercari sale in how long? Maybe a month? I mean, that's how long it's been. Mercari it's talking about desert. It has been dry on Mercari. I don't know about you all, whether you sell there, whether you're making sales there, but I'm just not. So I'm not really cross-listing anything over to Mercari anymore. I'm leaving all my listings up, and as they sell, they'll get taken down. We got Washington in the house. We got Oregon. We got Indiana. We've got Arizona. Where else are we watching from? Let me know in the comments. All right, let's jump over to Poshmark. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 orders on Poshmark. So relatively slow Poshmark weekend. Typically, I'm sitting at around like 8 to 10 sales on Posh. This month in general, I'm using my spreadsheet. So if you see me bouncing and I'm talking about numbers on my spreadsheet, I have a spreadsheet that has all this data. If you don't have a spreadsheet and you're looking for one, you can find it linked in most of the areas that you find me on my pages, on my channels, all linked. You can find that spreadsheet. I actually just reduced the price for 2025 down 20 to 30%. So NorCal, Northern California in the chat. So when you hear me talking about my spreadsheet and the metrics that I'm pulling, you can have the same access if you don't already, just by going and finding my links, clicking on it, and you'll find the spreadsheet there. But what was I talking about? What was I going to look at? Tennessee in the house. Poshmark. Oh, Poshmark is what I was talking about. So August, I did 66 units on Poshmark, which averages a little over 2 a day. September, I did 61, so about the same. This month, 20 days in, I'm trending at 27. So definitely a slower Poshmark month for me. Definitely a slower month, and that's okay. I mean, it happens every once in a while. Hopefully November bounces back. Nick says 9 of my last 12 sales have been on Posh. That's awesome, Nick. I'm actually surprised it's not Depop as well as you do on Depop. All right, so let's get to shipping. Let's get to shipping. You've heard me talk about this brand before, but I guarantee you've never heard me mention this type of sale. Untuckit is the brand. You're not going to see really anything except for like the little diamond logo or the triangle logo on the back pocket. Sold these pair of Untuckit pants, like khaki pants, for $19 on a best offer. I don't really find Untuckit pants So this was kind of an experiment for me. If I'm looking at how long they took to sell on my sheet, 168 days, so almost 6 months. I don't know if I'd pick them up again for 19 bucks. For Poshmark, I'm using my shipping supplies. Like 6 weeks ago, I ordered the Poshmark free shipping supplies. I'm still waiting on them, to the point of like, I'm like, are they coming at all? Should I put in another order? I know a lot of people have gotten them. So my guess is people that put in their orders like right away, the free USPS Ground Advantage supplies got them. And then a bunch of people went on and filed requests to get them. And so now they're kind of backlogged, would be my guess. But anyone out there, are you still, for those that have ordered the free supplies for Poshmark, are you still waiting? Have you gotten them? How long did it take for you to get them? Again, 19 bucks on the Untuckits. I mean, I probably got them. Pants here, typically for me, if I'm not getting them half price, are $5.99 to $6.99. That's about the standard price. So I'm looking at like I'm looking at like a $9 to $10 profit on that item. Sorry if I sound a little nasally. I'm dealing with a little bit of a cold. I'm feeling better today, but this weekend just had like some throat stuff. Nothing too serious, just throat stuff. And yesterday was just Saturday and Sunday. I was just conked. We ended up spending a really low key weekend because all of us are just somewhat sick. Rex, you talking about the Poshmark free supplies? Julie says ordered September 27th, still waiting. Milky says Milky and Rex still waiting. I'll have to check my mail to see when I ordered them. It was before September 27th, that's for sure. Let's see. I don't know if we'll be able to find this really quickly. Oh, here it is. September 17th is when I put in my request. So it has been over a month. Okay, so not as I initially thought, 6 weeks, not as long as I thought. 5 weeks maybe. Rex ordered on the 4th of October or September. All right, while you're discussing amongst yourselves, let's get the next item out. I love this brand. A lot of people know it now, but it's a hot brand right now. Of course, with any hot brand, people are going to start to flood the markets with them, and we're starting to see that with this. They are coming down, but still, I can't complain. I picked these pants up for $8 at a yard sale probably 3 months ago. Let's go ahead and check and see. 65 days ago is when they listed. So 2 months ago, $8, and took a best offer of $30 on these Vuori. Kind of an interesting brand, Vuori. These were like the Ripstop. I noticed a bunch of people were putting climbing in the titles, so I put climbing in there. These Ripstop pants. So $30 within 2 months, paid $8 for it. It's going to give me about, it's going to give me $16 profit. So I doubled my money in profit. I invested $8. I returned 16. So that's a 200% ROI within 60 days. If I could do that 10 times a day with that fast, I would be a happy man. If I could do a $16 profit 10 times a day on my bread and butters within 2 months of buying, I'd be a happy man. That's a good flip in general. It's the items that sit around for a year and a half that kill me. Still on Poshmark. We've got 3 more. You heard me talk about Untuckit earlier. And a lot of you that have been popping into these lives know I've been picking up I picked up a bunch of these Untuckit brand new shirts, 600 to be exact. I think I've sold 100 of them. Ordered in October. Okay. ADHD Thrifting is watching. What's going on? I feel like that's my handle right there. I'm so easily distracted. So I sold this for 27 on a best offer. That's about the range. 20 to 30 is what I'm getting on these Untuckits. This one went on Poshmark, of course. We're shipping out Poshmark orders. Donna on YouTube says, 5 different platforms for me this weekend. Donna, what platforms are you selling on? I mean, I'm assuming eBay, Posh. Are you on Depop and Mercari? And what's that 5th platform? Or if there's something different, let me know. That's amazing. 5 platforms. Does that happen regularly, or is that a kind of an enigma like mine? Going to Summerville, South Carolina. Do I have anyone in South Carolina watching? All right, next up, may have to do some digging for this one. You heard me talk about Vuori as a brand that is starting to kind of get flooded online. I mean, I remember I used to post last year a Vuori pair of pants, and they'd sell instantly for a lot more than 30. Similar story for these Lululemon shorts. You can still get good money for them. I got $31 on these shorts. They're the ABC Classic Fit Warp Stream shorts. It's important that you know the model on Lululemon and not just put Lululemon shorts. So look at the tag or find the sticker somewhere in the back pocket if you can, and get that specific model. That's key to getting a higher price, is having the fit, which obviously they do slim, regular, and classic. Also, Warp Stream is a higher end Lululemon, like a fabric. So that's a little more durable and it brings in a little more money. So if you find out that it's Warp Stream, make sure to get that in the title. These even had a few marks on them, like light marks on the back side of the shorts, and still went for 31 on a best offer on Posh. So, I mean, Lululemon is still good. You can still get really good money, $5 to $6 on these shorts. But it's not like it used to be where I'd post a pair of pants and get $50 for it immediately. Their pants, I say, are going to go for about 30 to 40. And if you have maybe, a random size that no one else has or color, you can obviously get more than that. Didn't take long on these to sell. Actually, no, I take that back. They did take a little longer. I listed these on July 17th. So we're looking at what, 4 months? 3 months? So not bad going to Austin, Texas. Never been to Austin, Texas. I've heard a lot about it. I know a lot of people. It's a popular spot right now. I'm just not a fan of the heat. I'm always looking to go where it's colder. We're not a beach family. We are a mountain family. So if we're going on vacation, it's typically to a colder climate. But I've heard good things about Austin, so. All right, my last Poshmark sale of the weekend, and then we're going to get moving on eBay. Took a best offer of these golf shoes. I love picking up golf shoes. I used to be more into the sport when I was like high school age. I used to play quite a bit. But now with a child and just, not a lot of time, it's hard to get into golf nowadays. So I'll play a few times a year, but I love thrifting golf stuff. These FootJoy Flex golf shoes sold on a best offer of $30 on Facebook. Took about 4 months to sell. I'm sorry, Facebook, Poshmark. I used to sell on Facebook. The great thing about FootJoy, and I'll show YouTube first, is you can see the model number. FootJoy always has a 5-digit number right inside the tongue. So obviously going to be backwards for you all, and I'll figure out how to mirror the video in just a second. But you can see that 56101 number. You just Google FootJoy and that 5-digit number, and you'll almost always get a model. And then you can put that model into your title. So with most shoes that I sell, actually my highest think my highest sale this weekend was a pair of shoes. I'll show you that in a sec. But with most shoes, I'm just doing bubble wrap around and then throw them in a poly mailer. Never had any issues. Never had anyone complain. The other thing I'll say about just about golf shoes in general, and I just noticed the tennis, I paid $10 for these, so you can still see that. I usually am able to get that off, but on certain soles, it's just really hard. So even with this on the bottom, the sticker price from the thrift, they still sold for $30. I don't know if the buyer saw that or not. But with golf shoes nowadays, you have two different types of spikes. They're not making hard spikes anymore, so you won't really see those. If you find like hard metal spikes, it's a good indicator that it's a really old shoe. I probably wouldn't pick it up. People don't play in hard spikes anymore. These are spikeless, but if you do have a pair of soft spike golf shoes, you'll have like round spikes, and it looks like you can unscrew them and you can change them out whenever they get worn. So soft spikes or spikeless, that's the key word you want to put into the title. These are obviously spikeless. You can see they've got a texture to them that kind of grips the ground, but you don't have anything to pull out. So spikeless golf shoes are kind of the newer style, but you'll still find brand new styles of shoes with soft spikes. Let's see if I can find a pair of soft spikes just to show you for you non-golf enthusiasts. So there you go. These are the soft spikes, and these things will actually, the white part will actually screw out, and you can buy new spikes and then screw them back in. So that's what you're looking for when you want to enter something into the title. Buyers will be interested in knowing that. Obviously, if you provide a picture of the soles, someone will be able to know right away that plays golf. Josephine, Top Son, Eve, Tammy, what's going on, everyone? Got a lot of energy this morning, even though I'm somewhat under the weather. I'm coming up, though. Jason Clary, I like your name. All right, we're popping them in. Popping them into the poly mailer. Just a reminder, if you haven't gotten your eBay free supplies with your store, to do that. I'm using my free, somewhat free. I pay a little bit extra than, I pay a little over the 50, but I'm using my free eBay supplies to ship these items out. Going to Dolan Springs, Arizona. Dolan Springs. Got a pretty large golf community in Arizona, so that doesn't surprise me. And with that, we have concluded shipping on Poshmark for the 5 orders that I got. Let's make sure another one didn't come in, and no. All right. So we're going to jump over to eBay, and this first item on eBay was a new Bolo brand for me. I saw it in the store, and if you know what I mean, you see a shirt, you see the you feel the fabric, and you're like, this is quality. I know it. I looked at the tag, and like this tag screams quality, screams high, like a higher end item that sells for good money, and I was dead on. It's going to be really hard for you to see the tag, but you can Google it when you get off here. But the brand is Retro Rifle, and I listed this on at the end of September, and it sold about 3 weeks later. So this went for $37. I would say that's on the lower end for this brand. If you find some, they have a lot of like really colorful, unique patterns on their shirts. You can kind of see the pattern. This is like water running through over rocks. Retro Rifles, kind of like a military type shirt. This is called the Lieutenant, which is right on the tag. I'll show you the tag just so you can kind of see. It's got dog tags hanging down. New find for me. This was even a size large, not bad. Some of these shirts used to go for like $50, $60, $70 if you can get some of those rare patterns. So for those of you that know Roosevelt's, I haven't found a Roosevelt in a while, but very similar style brand. Some of the Roosevelts, you know, you find like some of the higher end patterns, it's going to go for really good money. Josephine says, just started listing on eBay. I'm trying to list at least one item a day. I hope I can do it consistently. Yeah, Josephine, congrats on just starting on eBay. That's amazing. And welcome to the reselling club. I think you're going to find, if you haven't already, that it's pretty addictive. You make a few sales and you're going to be like, whoa, I know how to do this now. I think that's how it works for a lot of people. You start selling some stuff around your house and you go, oh, it works. I'm going to now start looking for stuff, because that feeling of money coming in, that cha-ching, is amazing. So what I would say to that, and congrats on having a goal of listing every single day. I think there's something to at least putting through one listing a day. Obviously, if you can get 5 to 10, that's going to help you more. But if you're at the place where you have a job and you know you can only do that, that's totally fine. So don't feel bad about one listing a day, or don't let anyone like talk down on that, because you got to do what you got to do. I would say if you can, it's better to list one a day than it is to list 7 once a week, if that makes sense. So if you can get 7 items listed in a week, make sure to push through those 7 items once a day, or 1 item each day of the week. And that's how I do my business. 5 to 10 listings. Like right now, because I'm working on the spreadsheet for 2026, I'm only pushing through 5 a day. But typically my goal when I'm not working on the spreadsheet and I have more time to resell, my goal is to get at least 10 units up every single day. So I create my drafts in eBay, and then each day I just go into the bank. You know, if I have 30 listings drafted, I'll take 10 out and push them through. All right, so a $6 shirt on that retro rifle that sold for $37 plus shipping, that's going to be about a $25 profit. I can get you the exact numbers if you want that. I forgot to put my, one sec, I forgot to put my shipping label in here to see how much I paid. Tammy, you are so welcome. Tammy says, I appreciate all you do for beginners like me. That's why I'm here. I remember those days. I remember when I wasn't making like 1 sale a day. And I remember getting to like 1 sale a day and feeling like I had accomplished something, like, okay, it's building. And then I remember when I got to like 2 sales a day. I remember in the early days, like checking eBay like all the time. Like I maybe had like 5 items listed and I'm like, do I have any watchers? Do I have any watchers? It was kind of incessant. But at that point I was working. I had a job, and it was just kind of like a fun hobby. All right. So retro rifle shirt, 21 days to sell, profit of about $24.46. Yeah, it's always good to remember the small beginnings. I remember when I started this business, my wife and I were living in Denver. We were in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I had like 10 items in a corner of our bedroom, like just right next to the, you know, the night table or the end table. I just kept all my items there because it was like an 800 square foot apartment. We had no space. It was a tiny apartment. And then I remember moving into a 2-bedroom apartment, and the 2nd bedroom was my business. So by that point, it had really grown. All right, next up, I picked up a couple of these Nike Dry Fit. Please don't hear me say that I picked these up. This is a rarity that I'm picking up, Nike golf polos. But I got 2 of these, same size, different colors, and they both look like they're new. Like it doesn't look like they've been worn. So I listed these as pre-owned, like new condition, and I took a best offer of $20 on this. Josephine says, Facebook, I'm inspired with your testimony. We're living in a 1-bedroom apartment now. Hopefully we'll be able to buy a house with the help of reselling. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I love hearing those stories. And that's why, honestly, why I have social media. You guys don't know me outside of reselling, but I'm not a social media person. I didn't really post much. I honestly, if I didn't do this full time for my job, I wouldn't have these apps on my phone. I just don't care. The reason why I have these apps, the reason why I go live, is to help people, because I remember when I was starting off, watching a couple of different resellers and getting encouraged and learning so much from them. And I was like, man, if I ever am able to do that, I want to do that. And so I love hearing your stories. It never gets old hearing how you all are doing and how you're starting off and going for it. I love hearing those stories. Nick says, and I'm here watching you for 5+ years now. My voice sounds bad. Nick Smith is one of the OGs watching me from, man, when I first started. And I'm not like amazing at it right now, but when I first started, man, I'm sure Nick had to suffer through some very slow, monotone lives. I've gotten a lot better. If you want proof, go to my YouTube channel, and I still have it up. My first video from like 2018, when I was like, all right, I'm going to record a video. And I literally just took my phone, I set it down, and it was like angled up at me, like the worst angle. It was horrible lighting. And my excitement was like, all right, here's a shirt. I mean, it was just horrible. I was so nervous, but I leave it up because you all need to see that I may be better at it now, but I had to start off somewhere, and it looked horrible and sounded horrible, but it's gotten better. Yes, but your knowledge has always been on point. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. I've tried to stay open to learning. I've tried to stay open to new brands and not getting stuck on the same familiar brands that I know. And those of you that are starting off, as you continue to do this, continue to look up brands, continue to stay open-minded, and continue to, I mean, as much time as it takes in the store looking up stuff, I'm still looking up stuff like that Retro Rifle shirt, because I'm like, look, if I can just keep adding brands to my back pocket, then eventually I can just, I mean, right now I could go to a store without using my phone. Let's say I didn't have service, and I could pull out a cart full of stuff without looking up, just because I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. 2016 is when I started selling clothing on eBay. And I'm no different than anyone else. You do this for 10 years. You do something for 10 years, you're going to get really good. You're going to find shortcuts. It's just going to get easier for you. Let's see here. Got this brand. You're not going to find it anywhere on here because it's not on like the back pocket. But this is a very rare brand. I don't find that often, and not rare and like it's worth a lot of money, just rare and that I just don't see it that much. Natural Gear. Natural Gear has like a lizard as a logo. These are cargo camo pants. I picked up in July and sold for $25 on a best offer. Honestly thought I would get closer to that $30 range. I had these at like 35 and I was hoping to hit 30. I discounted them down. I was running a sale this weekend, had them down to 31. Buyer made an offer for 25 and I just countered. I could have like countered it, or I just accepted. I could have countered at 28, but the rule nowadays is don't be too stingy for me and just accept offers. Nick Smith says, found 20 or so retro rifles a few years ago, all new with tags, 3 and 4 XL, have one left. That's amazing. That's money right there. So Nick's been on Retro Rifle for a while. For me, I just learned it. Going to California, Fremont, California. Gigi Marie, what's going on? If you all have any questions whatsoever and I can answer it for you, please use this time and ask away. I love questions. You don't have to, but if you're thinking of something and starting off, or you just have a question that you want feedback on, I'd love to help you out. You're going to hear a mix of mainly thrift, but also retail arbitrage mixed in. And this next one is an RA flip. Twice a year, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross, I don't know about Ross, but they do deep discounts on clearance. And so I always go in and pick up a bunch of stuff. I got this t-shirt for like $6 to $8 and it sold for $29.90. It's a Tommy Bahama graphic t-shirt. It's got like a grilling graphic on the back. I can't really show it to you because it's in this bag, but $29.90, sold in a couple of months. So I actually picked up several of these graphics and none of them have really been selling. So I may slow down on picking those up. They used to sell for me better. I'd get 30 to 35. So I'm probably going to tap the brakes on picking up like the Tommy Bahama graphic t-shirts. Another California delivery. All right, moving on. Another brand that I'm probably going to slow down on, meaning maybe not pick up anymore unless I'm getting an extremely good deal, is a shoe brand called Allbirds. I've got maybe 4 or 5 pairs of shoes over there. In the past, I could list these for $29 and they'd sell fast. That's not the case anymore. I got $25.65 for these Allbirds. This is a different style of Allbird, honestly. It's not their typical like lightweight minimal running shoe, wool runner. But with Allbirds, you can, I mean, the model number is right inside. It's easy to look up and find out what you're looking for. There's the Allbirds logo on the back. $25.65. I mean, that's okay. With shoes, I really want to hit that 30 plus mark. I mean, most pairs of shoes, I'm going to pay at least $6 to $7 on the minimum. Sometimes I'm paying 10 to 15. So I need to average a 30 plus sale price and up. I don't think I paid much for these. I can't imagine paying more than $7, $8 on these, but doesn't matter because they're gone. So I made money. Hardly ever lose money. It does happen. I do have losses in the business, but I hardly ever lose money. And that's the great thing about thrifting. You can usually get it cheap enough to where, worst case, you're going to make a few bucks. It's going to sit around and then it's going to go. Josephine asked a great question. Do you clean shoes? Yeah, I do quite a bit. I definitely take that into consideration when I'm buying. And if it's a $30 pair, let's say I'm going to sell it for $30. If it's going to require a lot of cleaning, I'm probably not going to pick it up. But if it's a $100 pair of shoes, I'll clean that thing all day and get that looking really good in order to make that sale. So I will clean shoes, and I'll say tried and true supply that I use are these Mr. Clean magic erasers. These clean the top surface of the shoe really well, for like your typical leather or leather, definitely. That's mainly what I use them for. These magic eraser foam pads work really well. And they also get the marker price off the bottom of most shoes. I typically use nail polish remover to remove the marker, and then if that doesn't work, I'll then go to the foam pads, and that usually works half the time that the nail polish remover doesn't work. Very rarely does it not come off. So yeah, I'll definitely clean the shoes if it's worth my time. And I have like a heavy duty like scrub brush in here. I use this as well for like the bottom soles. If it's like muddy or dirty, a lot of times with golf shoes, they'll be somewhat dirty, grass, mud, and you got to clean them up a little bit. Hiking boots would be something that I would typically buy to clean. Especially if you get like a pair of Solomon's that, you know, like I said, has good resale value. Man, still on the up. Feel like my voice is getting more froggy as I talk. Safety Harbor, Florida. So already you're seeing a lot of shipments to California and a lot to Florida on this live. So the Allbirds, 171 days to sell, so almost 6 months. Profit of like $15, which isn't bad. I mean, $15 profit on one item that's kind of a bread and butter item. I'll take that. But shoes especially are just taking up much more room. So I'm a little more hesitant with shoes. All right, brand new pair of Hook fishing shorts. There you go. Tag says retail for $65. These sold on a best offer of $40. I think I paid $20 for these, so probably paid too much. But hey, again, I didn't lose money, and they took about 3 months to sell. We had a weekend in Oklahoma City back in July, and we went thrifting, and I bought these there. I bought like 5 items, so that was one of them. Hook is a great outdoor brand specifically for fishermen. And as you would have guessed, this is going to Clearwater, Florida. Love finding new with tags items. Okay. Do I sell items for other people? Sometimes. I actually, for my wife, I sell quite a bit. Great thing about having this business is you can constantly buy used, and then when you're tired of wearing it, flip it, get something else, and that's what we're doing. We've got a rotating door here with my wife and I, our closet. We'll typically wear things for a couple seasons and then switch it out, get something new. So sold this for her. Everlane is not a brand I pick up, but for her, it's new with tags, and it went for $24. It's like a sweater vest. Had it been used, probably would not have sold it. If I'm going to sell something for someone else, I really want to get like $18 or more. I'm not wanting to get less than that. For my wife, I'll obviously sell. I'll be a little more lenient because it's my wife, but I do have people from time to time asking if I'll sell things for them. And I used to do it more often, but I just got to where I was like tired of managing all of that. So I'm pretty selective on what I'll sell for people. I recently told my dad, I'm like, Dad, I'm just not going to sell your stuff anymore, because he's always cleaning out his closet and his garage and things like that. And I'm glad. I mean, he's getting rid of stuff. That's good. But I'm just like, I just don't want to constantly look through your garage and find like random old stuff. It's just not exciting to me. So I finally just got to the point where I said, Dad, sorry, I'm just not going to sell anything for you. I mean, he was giving me half the profit and I appreciate that. But I'm glad to let go of a lot of those consignment relationships that I had, because now I can just focus on my business and selling my stuff. Which, by the way, if you do find yourself without my spreadsheet and you are looking for a way to track your consignment, I do have a consignment tab on it that you can make copies of that consignment tab for each person that you have a relationship with. And it will, I mean, I use this for the small amount of consignment that I have to tell me exactly how much money I made and how much I need to cut a check for each month for those people. All right. We're hanging in there. Next up, a brand new pair of PGA Tour golf pants picked up for $5 or $6 at Goodwill. It says they retail for $80. No one's paying $80 for this brand. And they sold for $28.47. Picked up a couple of pairs of these at the same store. So $28.47. PGA Tour. I find it a lot. I find this brand a lot at thrift stores used, and I never pick it up used. Those pants used, I would get $12 to $15. So brand new, I'll entertain it. I got 28. Used, no way. So just give you an idea. Gives me a profit of about $19, and it took 143 days to sell. So that's decent. I'll take that. Other than that, I'm not messing with $14 items. Ruston, Florida. I'm telling you guys, California, Florida, those are my destinations, and I'm right here in the middle. Right here in the middle. All right, Josephine, totally understand. Josephine's saying goodbye. Got to go to work. I get that. Do what you got to do. Thanks for popping in and saying hello. All right, we still got about 15 eBay orders left to ship. I got to refresh my browsers because they're timing out. So give me just a second. We'll move on to the next one. Still have my biggest sale of the weekend in here that I haven't shown you yet. Over $100 on an item I paid $30 for at like a yard sale. Almost there. All right, next up. Sold a couple of these this weekend. And typically what happens when you have multi-quantity of something, when one sells, a lot of them will sell. And I've got another item that I'll show you that happened with as well. Because buyers that are watching that item will get a notification that, hey, this item's almost out of stock. If you want it, you better get it. So this person made an offer, $55.57 on this puffer jacket. The brand, I don't really know it outside of, I picked it up at TJ Maxx. The brand is Pajar, P-A-J-A-R, and I got it new for $20 back in January, and this sold for $55.57. It's a micro down jacket. So I had two of these this weekend. This one sold for $55, and then another buyer came and bought the second one like the next day. So now I'm out of stock on these down jackets from Pajar. Going to New Jersey. I've never seen Pajar in the wild. I'd probably pick it up if I saw it used for a decent price. Again, this one was brand new without tags, so I listed it new without tags and got $55 for it. So again, a steep price to get it, 20 bucks, but I knew I would get over 50. And so I still get about a $20 profit on that. Stacy, what's going on? Thanks for popping in to say hello. This yard sale that I got this next item at was amazing. I went on, I think it was Saturday so I listed this in July. I show up at this yard sale. It didn't look like anything from the outside. You know, you pull up and you're trying to gauge, like, should I get out? Should I keep driving? They had a few things, but it wasn't like a huge yard sale. So I get out. I'm like, you know what? This is like my last one of the day. Let's just go and see. You never know. And they're like, hey, everything is $1. Like, they had prices on everything, but they were like, we just want to get rid of it. Everything's $1. So I'm like, $1? Now we're talking. So I picked up a handful of items. This item is a Barbie like baseball jersey. It's got like the button up and the stripes. It's black with pink. And they were like $1. So, you know, it's not even branded. Actually, it is branded Barbie the movie. So I'm just thinking, you know, kind of the hype was a few months ago. So maybe the hype has waned a little bit, but for $1, like, this shirt looks brand new and it sold for $25.64. I ended up getting like a couple pairs of shoes there that I've already sold one pair for like 50 plus, but I'm like, if you tell me everything is $1, that's a lot different than I'm looking at an item for 5 or 6 or 10. That's my kind of yard sale right there. I mean, they had like some nice rugs and stuff, which like a jute rug that had like a small hole in it. And I'm like, babe, do you want this rug? I think it's $1. We didn't end up getting it, but yeah, when there are several people at the sale and they start announcing that everything's $1, it's like you just grab stuff and put it in your hands. Going to Iowa, Nevada, Iowa. I bet that's confusing for the people that live in that town. Where are you from? Nevada, Iowa. Or for some of you people, you call it Nevada. Anyone call it Nevada? I don't know a lot of people that call it Nevada. Maybe I'm just off. All right. Another brand that I'm not really picking up anymore. Again, maybe for $1. Other than that, no. Brand is Travis Matthew. I've still got a few of these like golf polos in my store. You know, you heard me talk about Lulu, Viore. I think this style was like 2 years ago. And so a year to 2 years ago, another one going to Iowa, by the way. So, I mean, I still got 15 on a best offer. That's not bad. But if I'm paying 5 or 6 for this, that leaves me like $7 margin. Still over 100% ROI, but not enough for something to sit. I listed at the end of March. That's too long to get $7, in my opinion. But that's just my strategy. Not knocking on anyone else that does it that way. Chemo, what's going on? Back in the day, I used to be like, look, it'll sell eventually. Everything sells. Everything's got a price. And that is true. But when you start getting limited on space, and it's like, okay, I've got a certain amount of space in my garage. And if an item is selling, it's taking up space for another item that's a better item. So I either have to move my stuff out into a storage unit and pay monthly a couple $100, or I got to get better at sourcing. And that's what I'm trying to do. Better at, you know, raising the bar on the items that I'm picking up. Donna Sargent asks, do you sell on eBay? And if so, yep, I'm shipping out all my eBay orders right now. How do you ship with paying for labels? Where the buyer pays you money to ship it and then you go out and pay for a label. I'm guessing that's what you're meaning. So what you're going to do is you're going to charge a price. So technically it's considered like a flat fee on eBay. I say flat fee not to be confused with flat rate, which like USPS has a flat rate. This is not that. This is a flat fee. So I do flat fees, meaning It's not calculated based on where the person lives. It's just wherever you live, it costs you this amount of money in shipping as the buyer to pay. So for shoes, typically it's like $10. That's my flat rate for like a 2-pound pair of shoes. Seems like I'm paying out of pocket. For instance, I listed something for $5 and the label ended up being $7. Yeah, so that's what you got to be careful with. That's most of the time I'm not losing money on my labels. I'm charging enough to cover shipping. Occasionally I am losing. And so if you're collecting $5 from the buyer and then the label is $7, then just keep a mental note of that next time. Like, hey, when I go to list this item, I need to charge more for my items than what I'm charging. And so you just be aware of, like, this time every year, USPS raises their rates. They do a holiday rate hike and they say it's temporary. It's not, because they're going to lower it. And then like a few days later, they're going to permanently raise it, which is just stupid. It's like, just say it's a permanent rate hike in October and don't fool around with like temporary rate hike. I just don't get it. For years now, they've been doing that. And it's annoying that they're like temporary. That's my rant for the day. Temporary rate hike, USPS, for the holiday busyness, which I get. Like, I'm not against that. But don't call it temporary. Just call it, it's more expensive now to ship, so we're raising our prices. Like, just do that. Red Sox fan, I can dig that. Just don't put the New York cap on. Yeah, I'm not a New York fan. I love Boston. Who we rooting for nowadays? I know we're in the Dodgers are in the World Series. I don't even know who they're playing, but if you all have a team, let me know in the comments. So yeah, Donna, the main thing is make sure if you're new and starting off, you're learning. You learn that I lost $2 shipping on this item, but it could have also been that maybe that went way far away from you. And typically it doesn't ship out that far distance wise. So I would just go through and raise your rates a little bit. With clothing, it's pretty predictable simply because most of my items are under a pound or 2 pounds. I pretty much know, like, it's never going to go, a 2-pound item is never really going to go over $9 right now. So I charge $8.95 and most of the time I'm fine. All right, my highest sale of the weekend going to Kingsport, Tennessee, and I love hearing that, speaking about shipping, because it's a neighbor, so it's not going to cost me very much to ship these out. I went to it was like a pop-up yard sale in like an alley behind an apartment complex. Honestly, we were just going to support a friend, and I didn't think I was going to find anything. I ended up getting, some guy comes and sets up while we're there and pulls out like 3 brand new pairs of shoes. He sets up like a brand new Yoda Lego set. I'm like instantly like, okay, I'm on this fast. So I'm like, how much do you want for the shoes? How much do you want for the Lego, the Star Wars Lego? And I ended up picking up everything for $70. I sold the Star Wars Lego for $50, I believe. I ended up getting 3 pairs of shoes, of which I have, maybe this was it. I got a brand new pair of Ultras. I got a brand new pair of Birkenstocks. All of these for $70 total. I thought there was a third pair, but I'm not remembering what it was. So maybe it was just 2. So anyways, these sold for $102.58. These are the Birkenstock Bend Low. So it's not like your typical Arizona classic sandal or the Boston clog. Excuse me. Glad I opened these up because there's a hair on the inside. I want to get that. Oh no, that's just part of the sole. Okay. This is the more of the look. So a different Birkenstock look. Had these been like the Arizonas or the Bostons, they would have sold a lot faster. Speaking of Boston. So these took, let's see, listed mid-July. So again, like 4 months to sell. I'm okay with that. They sold for $102. I paid $30 for these. That's what it was. I bought 2 pairs of shoes for $30 each, and then the Legos were $10. The Ultras everything already sold. This was the last one. So 50 on the Legos, 102 on this, and I think I took an offer of 90 on the Ultras. So what's that put me at? $240 on $70 spent. And getting all my money back within, I mean, everything was listed in July. So getting all my money back and then some 3 to 4 months later. So yeah, happy with that little find. So 102.58 plus shipping going to Tennessee. Obviously, I'm going to ship these in the box, but since those are already in a box, I'm going to ship this box inside another box. And I'm actually going to use a different one. I'm going to use one over here. Again, got my eBay. I typically don't buy eBay boxes with my store code, coupon code, but I needed them this time, so I got them. I typically buy the poly mailers. And again, this is a $100 pair of shoes. They're Birkenstocks. The last thing I want is the buyer to feel like they bought a fake pair of shoes. So I'm going to make sure to package these up really well. Obviously, I wrapped them really well, just like if you were to open up a pair of shoes in the Birkenstock box, you would find that like that tissue paper. Can you all hear my wife? She's on the other side of this wall over here, and she's in a call right now. I love getting this stuff. All right, so Donna, if you're still in here, I charge $10.95 to ship out this box. I'm assuming it's going to be that 2 to 3 pound range. So $10.95 is what I charge for a pair of shoes in that 2 to 3 pound range. Now, if this were going to Washington, Oregon, New York, I'm obviously going to pay a lot more, but Tennessee is great because it's going to be a cheaper rate. And I always set my rates to assume that I'm going to be shipping a great distance. And then if it ends up being closer, that's better for me. I got to keep drinking water. Soothe my vocal cords. And actually, this one bumped over the 3 pound range. So now it's going to be in that 4 pound cost. What is this? 15 by 10 by 6 box. And so even at 4 pounds, I'm still coming in under what I charge. So it's $9.27 to ship. But again, that's simply because it's going to Tennessee and not to Washington or to Connecticut. Which is great because I can use that extra margin from the shipping to pay for like things like this box, the fillers, the poly mailers, all the things I use to ship. What did I say? 9? I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look at the shipping label on that. $9.27. Okay. Okay, so you heard me say I picked up 3 items. The Birkenstocks were the last pair to sell. It took 96 days, so obviously the other 2 sold faster than that. $49 profit on those. $49 profit, paying $30. So a little, about what, 120% ROI, 130%. All right, next up. They can't all be Birkenstocks though. And you'll hear, like, especially on my videos, people will say, and you'll hear it a lot, why are you messing with those $20 items? Because I don't make 30 sales a weekend on Birkenstocks. Trust me, if I had all those types of sales that I could get, I'd be sourcing those all the time. But the reality is 80% of my sales, 70% of my sales are going to be like this one, these $20 flips that I pick up for $4 or $5 or $6. I sell it for 20. I make 10 to 12 profit, 10 to 15, somewhere in there, and move on. I mean, I just can't find those $100 flips all the time. And so don't be ashamed and don't let people talk down to you about the bread and butter flips. Know your business model, know your strategy. Of course, do what's best for you. And if you can find 50 pairs of those Birkenstocks or things like it, then I would say don't waste time on the bread and butter. But if you can't, which is the reality for most of us, we got to focus on the bread and butter. And this next item is a FootJoy. It's like a base layer, like mock neck, turtleneck type item, wicking material. It's going to sit under like a polo. So this is more of a winter base layer golf shirt. So $20, 137 days to sell. I wasn't even the cheapest on the market on this. I know when I listed it, I was probably in that mid range. And I still got more than what some other people were asking for theirs. I don't know if that's just because theirs sold or if people looked at my feedback and said, you know, his feedback is better, or I don't know. Maybe I was closer to their state. Actually, it's going to Illinois, so I am closer to their state. Maybe they were looking at others and they were like, I can get his faster if I order with him. I don't know. I don't know what the buyer was thinking. Going to Illinois. Just like a state and a half away. I guess a state away. Missouri is the only thing in between. All right, next up, vintage Eddie Bauer. I pick up some of their vintage items, not really a lot of their newer items, just because there's so much. But vintage denim shirts have a market, and that's the black Eddie Bauer tag, which is kind of like their late 90s, maybe Y2K black, or I think it's black. $20 for this. I even paid up $8. That's high. That's really high for a shirt, especially in Eddie Bauer. And I remember questioning, like, do I really want to pay $8? I did. I got 20 for it. So it's going to San Diego. If you ask me, do I regret that sale? Obviously not, because I made the sale. But if 6 months down the road that were still sitting in my closet, then I would say maybe I shouldn't have picked that up. Here's a case where I did lose money on shipping. I said it never really happens, but I didn't charge enough. This ended up being £1. And I knew when I made the sale and I looked at how much I charged for shipping, I was like, oh, I think I'm going to lose money on that one, which I typically don't look at the shipping, but I just happened to on this one as I was entering it into the spreadsheet. So I charged $6.95, which is like a 12 ounce and under rate, and it was £1. So I ended up losing almost $1 margin. It was $7.92 to ship it. So on that $20 shirt, took a month to sell, so that's good. I made $7.01. So paid $8, made $7. That's almost 100% ROI. Again, I'm not regretting that decision. I'm just glad it sold within 30 days. All right, here's the second Pajard down jacket. You heard me talking about the first one. This one I got 61.74 on, and I'm officially sold out of Pajard down jackets. Since I just shipped the other one, I know this one's going to be in that 2-pound range. So took 270 days to sell. I listed this in January of this past year, 2025. If that doesn't make sense. And it made me $28.44 profit. paid 20, made 28 in about 9 months. Still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 orders to ship out. And an interesting order to ship out too that I'll get to in just a second. So in late January and in late July, those retail establishments always do their deep discounts, and I always buy a bunch of stuff. Late January, late July. I had a bunch of stuff sell from that late January lot that I picked up, and these were another item that I picked up at the same RA runs that I was doing. I probably sold 5 to 7 items from that lot. It's just in late January, you're picking up all of the last year's stuff that they're discounting. So it's going to be winter stuff. So it's obviously not going to sell until winter starts to get closer, which is now. And now all this stuff is selling. So there's no, like, it makes sense to me why a bunch of items from that late January haul are now selling, because they're all winter stuff. And just like the late July stuff that I picked up, if they didn't sell already, they're probably going to sit until March. And so this is a pair of Holderness and Bourne like corduroy pants. I don't remember if I paid 20 or 30 for these. I think I paid 20. I don't think I would have paid 30. I didn't get that much. $50. So paid 20 to sell for 50. If you also are doing the yellow tag like TJ Maxx, Ross, clearance events, let me know. Put in the comments yellow tag. I'm just curious, like, how many of you actually do that? Go and actually buy the yellow tag clearance stuff. 659. Nick says, go Mariners. Nick, are the Mariners in the World Series? Did they officially make it? Or are they still fighting to get in? Nick says he's doing the yellow tag. Game 7 of the ALCS is tonight. Mariners, and I don't really follow baseball that much. I mean, if Boston's in, I'd be a little more into it. But who are they playing? Who are the Mariners playing? Is it? It's not Chicago. I think Chicago lost. Blue Jays. That's right. Okay. All right, another item I picked up for $20 were these Polo Ralph Lauren, like solid color long sleeve polos. And I have I think I had 4 or 5 that I bought, and I'm now down to like 1. So again, when one sells, then people start getting notifications and they all start selling. And the Seahawks are on Monday Night Football as well. Busy night. You do have a busy night, man. Which one are you going to follow? Obviously, the ALCS Game 7 has a lot more on the line than a Monday Night Football, just a regular weekly game. But that's a fun thing to have lined up for you, ready to go tonight. Get dinner, get a nice drink, sit on the couch, or go out and watch with other people. That's always how I like to do it if I can. It's more fun to watch with people. Get some sports. All right, next up, 3XL tall. So Polo Ralph Lauren, just the blue polo. Long sleeve makes a huge difference because there's so many short sleeves out there. I have a better chance of selling as fast as a long sleeve than I do as a short sleeve. 5128 is what I got for this one. Going to Wichita, Kansas. About 5 hours away, so familiar with that. Go through Wichita all the time when I go to Denver. It's kind of one of the only ways to go. It's the quickest route for me. So spent 20 on these shirts, made $19.95. You all doing that? You spending 20 to make 20? This was actually one of the late July yellow tag items. So I haven't had these that long. Actually, I'm going to find that other one and see when I listed this, probably mid-August. Yeah, August 14th. That's when I listed those polos. Baseball on the outside TV, Hawks on the inside TV. We can see both from the outdoor couch. I love that. That's amazing. You get to be outside. You can just do a little head nod, just tilt the head a little bit, and you've got both games right there. 20 for 20, Nick says. Try not to, but it happens. Yeah. I mean, see, what was that? 65 days. I'll do 20 for 20 in 65 days. But if it drags on longer than that, then I'm not too happy with. I mean, again, I don't regret that as long as it sells, but I don't want 20 for 20 to sit for a long time. Next up, what is on the docket? Coming out of my closet. This is like a pair of North Face, like thermal pants, like base layer pants that I've had for years. I mean, probably 20 years. And I honestly was like, why do I still have these? I don't even wear them. They're too big for me. So I pulled them out, put them on, and they sold for $14.24. Going to Omak, Washington. Never heard of Omak, Washington. They had thread pools in them. But for something that's a base layer, people don't care if it's got thread pools because it's going to be worn underneath clothes. Omak, Washington? Omak, Washington? I bet Nick knows. I bet Nick knows. That's a maybe that's your new slogan. Nick knows. Nick knows his stuff. Omak, whatever, however you want to pronounce it, is, I'm going to just say it's Omak. It's far eastern and northern Washington, home of the Omak Stampede. Okay, long O. Gotcha. 60 days is good and would be better if a multi-quantity. Yeah, and that's exactly why I picked up like 4 or 5, because I knew I was doing one listing and it was going to be really easy. All right. Again, forgot to put the shipping in. Let's refresh this. All right, so I got $12.63, and I'm going to be sending to my personal account for my personal fun money because it was my item that I sold out of my closet. Okay, $12. I can go get lunch somewhere. No tip, but I can get lunch somewhere. If I haven't seen a comment on Facebook in a while, but if I've missed one, a question or a comment, just put it in again and I'll see it and I'll respond to it. Okay, paid $8 for these. Check these out, guys. Wrangler. You got to see these. George Strait original fit. Look at the tag on that. What do you notice about that tag? Look at the size. 32 by 38. I don't know if I picked up 36-inch inseam. I don't know if I've ever found 38-inch inseam. And I remember thinking, okay, they're brand new with tags for $8. Like, I got to get them. It's vintage jeans, new with tags. And had a couple people making offers on these early, but they were too low. Finally took an offer of $40, and this is an international order. So it's going overseas. So I'm going to use Pirate Ship to ship these. I'm going to refresh here. 38-inch inseam, which it's harder to find someone to buy them. But the great news is when you do have an item like that, you're not going to, I think I was the only one listed on eBay that was a 38-inch inseam. So it may take longer to find a buyer, but when they find you, they don't have any competition. You don't have any competition on that item. So this guy even sent a message thanking me for finding these jeans. He said, been looking for a vintage George Strait jean in this size for a while. So, you know, that goes to show you how often they come up. This is an international buyer. It's going, I believe, to the Netherlands. Tall, slender cowboy. That's right. It is a tall, slender cowboy. My pirate ship is like frozen. I'm trying to refresh to get this so I can ship it. Come on, load. I may have to ship these after because it's not refreshing so I can get this order to ship out. So I'll put these to the side. But it's pretty simple to ship out international orders. I'm not gonna be able to show you today, but let's move on to the next one. Fast flip alert. Fast flip on this Jane Barn. It's like a smoky tie-dye style shirt with some embroidery on it, some like stitching, maybe not some embroidery, more stitching. The brand is Jane Barnes. Haven't had great luck with this brand. Maybe found it 3 times, but this sold within 3 weeks for $33.24. And hello, we got another international order. I didn't know that, but it's going to Sweden. So again, I won't be able to ship this out, but I'll set it to the side. I'll have to wait and refresh or maybe restart my computer. All right, next up. Mountain khakis have slowed down. I picked up like 4 or 5 pairs of these. This was the first to go. Got the MK on the back pocket. I got 21.84 on these. That's about standard. You're going to get 17 to 23 or 24, depending on size and color. Again, I picked up like 4 pairs of pants, listed these in June, so they've taken a while. Mountain khakis are not, mountain khakis had their day back in the day, but they're not as popular as they once were. As with a lot of brands, it used to be something 2-3 years ago I would list and get decent offers for right away. So not great. Going to Savannah, Georgia. We're getting close to the end here. 3 left to ship. All right, another fast flip. Listed these on 10/15, and honestly, I drafted these on 10/15, but I probably didn't list them until like 10/17, and they sold yesterday. So within what, 2 days? I had 5 of these. I paid $7.99 a piece. This brand new Callaway golf pullover. We've got like a golf tournament here every year. It's a women's professional golf tournament at a close by course. And so I often see a lot of like brand new Callaway merch that's got the logo on it. So I'm kind of slow to pick up the polos, but this was a long sleeve pullover and it had like the little logo right here on the sleeve. So it wasn't huge and it was right on the sleeve, but it had Callaway on the chest. Again, 5 of these for $8 each, and this one sold for $33.24. Going to Fayetteville, Arkansas. That's fun. How far away? I'm in Fayetteville. He's in Fayetteville. Garrett's in Fayetteville. Let's see. This is a fun game. I always do this when it's going to the same town. I'm like, how far away? Okay. Wow. All the way on the other side of town. 25-minute drive. It's like 12 miles away. So probably not going to hand deliver this one, but that's fun. He's going to get it super fast because probably by tomorrow, by the time they pick up today. And it looks like my pirate ship just refreshed and is working now, so I can ship out those international orders. All right, so 2 days to sell that Callaway. I've got 4 others right behind it. So again, could be one of those things where if anyone else was watching, maybe I'll get another sale today on those. Profit of $22.66 within 2 days. Of course, if anyone's watching and is like, hey, I'm interested in something you have, not that you can see my inventory here, but you're hearing of like multi-quantity, I always cut a deal if I'm selling it off of eBay or off other platforms because it's cheaper for me. So I make it cheaper for you. All right, Brooks Brothers. Slow to pick up Brooks Brothers. Got $18.99 on this. Nothing really crazy about it. I mean, it's XL, but it's just a green plaid check. There's the pattern. It's like an army green cotton shirt. Nothing fancy. $18.99. Actually, really thrilled to get $18.99 and not get an offer for $13 on that. Gives me a profit of about $9, $8 to $9. But again, it took 194 days to sell, so I don't want an item to sell for in 6 months for $8. I want it to move faster than that, but I can't complain. It's more than what I paid for it. All right, another Polo Ralph Lauren. You saw the other one. This one was a different size. $50 on it. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it because you already know it. Oh, this is an international order going to Germany. Okay. Well, it's a good time that this just... Why did I do that? I clicked refresh and we'll see how long it takes. So while I'm waiting for this to refresh, I did have another sale that I'm not going to be able to ship out today, but this was, again, another one of those RA flips from late January at TJ Maxx. This was a G4 quilted golf puffer vest. I got for, I believe, $29. And I've got several of these. I probably bought 10 to 12 of them at the time. And this one sold for $64.12 plus shipping. So paid $30 to make like $25. Honestly, these were selling for like $100 and up at the time when I bought it, but it's a different story now. So it's get your money back time. And I maybe could have priced it higher, but I dropped it to make the sale. There's a lot of competition out on these, and that's the thing with new with tags. You get a lot of competition, and you got to be willing to take less in order to move it. I don't want to have this in a year or two. So I'm happy with a $64.12 sale. But the buyer reached out last night after he bought it and said, hey, I'm away from home. Please don't ship this until Thursday. So I have no problem with that. I'll just set it aside and I'll ship it out this Thursday. I've got it right over here where I can see it. I will get a late notification. I will get a late ding on the shipping on eBay, but my metrics are pretty good. So I'm not too worried about one late shipment. I've got several late shipments just based on my postal carrier not picking up certain days at a good time, or on time, I should say, which hardly ever happens. So I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so just refreshed on the international orders, and I've got 3. So we'll go ahead and tackle those now. So you heard me talking about the Polo Ralph Lauren. That was the last one that I'm shipping. So let's go ahead and do that now. And I'll have to enter in a little bit of information. So you'll see me typing, but Basically, just got to go in and pull some information from the order. And it's honestly, for an international order, Pirate Ship does it. It's very simple. You can look into it. It's called, if you want to Google Pirate Ship Simple Export Rate, that's their shipping, international shipping for items that are under 4 pounds. And that's what I use. It's free. Sign up for an account. It's free to use. And it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. It doesn't take long at all. So the extra stuff that I'm going to be putting into this order on the label, it says, then this is the customs information they want to know. So what are you shipping? So I just say a polo shirt, keep it pretty simple. Quantity 1, total value is $50. There will be times where people will say, hey, can you write the declared value as less so I pay less in taxes? And I just don't do it. I'm not going to cheat a system because you want me to. I'm going to put exactly how much you paid, put in the weight, and then I go back to the order and see if they already paid, like prepaid a tax on that order. Because if they did, I want to give them credit for it so they don't pay it again later. And I'm looking for a code, and it's in here. So it says VAT paid. And I just copy the number after that. It's like an 11-digit number, and I put it in this order. Very simple to use. As long as you get it in there, you won't have any issues. If you forget to put it in, you're going to have an angry buyer on the other end when they go to pick up and they're like, I had to pay an extra VAT because you forgot to put it in. And then I just got to find this unique code that tells the postal service that's picking it up what this item is, which is a men's like cotton shirt. And then I click get rates, and then I'm on my way getting the label. So I charged $21 for this shirt. My label is $21.99. So that was a mistake on my part. I lost $1 and I'm not too worried about it. But I typically have like $1 margin left over on these international orders. All right, so international order 1 of 3 going out the door. Now we'll ship out the Jane Barnes shirt going to Sweden. And I charged for 1 pound, but if this is 8 ounces or less, that will save me. And it is, so that's great. Again, so shipping a shirt, quantity 1, $33.24. I'm just going to put $33 on the declared value. And let's see if they paid a tax. I don't know if I've ever shipped to Sweden before. And they did. They paid a VAT on this one too. All right. 1 second. All right, so I charged $19 shipping. That's kind of like my 1 pound rate. It's $13.99. So this was one where I thought it was going to be my 1 pound rate, which would have been $17.99. It ended up coming in at 8 ounces or less, so it dropped down a little bit. And And then next, the last package we'll ship out are the George Strait jeans going to the Netherlands. I charge 23. Typically on a 2-pound pair of pants, I would charge 21. But I knew because of the extra fabric, 38-inch inseam, that these are going to dip into that 3-pound range. It's teetering on 2 pounds. So it looks like it's going to hold steady at 2 pounds. Right at 2 pounds. I'm shocked. And not to sound repetitive here, but just going back to his order to see if he paid a VAT. It's usually about 50-50 what I see, and it just, I guess, depends on the country too. Oh, I'm glad I noticed this. I need to attach tracking. No, I shouldn't have to do that. It should automatically update. I'm not sure why it's not. Okay, he paid a VAT as well. Yeah, that's the great thing about Pirate Ship is when you import your listings from eBay to ship out, it automatically adds the tracking and considers it shipped. So you don't have to go back and do that. So I'm going to just refresh my eBay page just to make sure that those drop off the need to ship page. Because if they don't, I'll need to attach tracking myself. But it looks like it did on the first one. So we'll see. I know Pirate Ship is really slow today, so it could just be that it's going to, but it hasn't done it yet. Maybe something with their system. Okay, so $21.99 on these jeans. I'm really glad that I charged more than I typically do. I charged 23, so again, $1 margin. I didn't lose money on these. Had they been 3 pounds, I think I would have lost. And I am just going to double check. Okay, they all dropped off of awaiting shipment. So that means the tracking got added. I don't need to go back and manually add it in. So I'm good to go there. So yeah, that's it. Those are my 32 orders I shipped out. Thanks for watching. I don't know if you guys know, but I got to go to the bathroom. So I'm going to end it right here because I've been doing the water dance for a while. So I appreciate you guys watching. Maybe TMI, but you know what? I'm not ashamed. Hope you guys have a great week selling, and I'll be back next Monday shipping out my weekend orders, going live, connecting with you all. So put it on your calendar. Come hang out with me. This has been fun. You all make that fun, just connecting. And yeah, again, if you're looking for a reseller spreadsheet, make sure you go to wherever you're watching me from, YouTube, Facebook, look at my links because I've got it linked right there. And like I said, I've got it discounted 20 to 30% depending on which one you get for the rest of 2025. So get your spreadsheet now so you can get ready for tax time. This thing will make it super easy for you. I promise you. I've had so many people say my taxes are much easier because I'm keeping up with it throughout the year rather than waiting until the end. So yeah, we'll see you guys later. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one. I'm going to end YouTube and then Facebook. We'll see you guys.